Punch Audio presents If These Lips Could Talk, written by Frank Pace, with Billy O'Connor. Read for you by Alex Hyde-White. Dedications. Frank Pace. I once read that every time an old person dies, it's as if a library burns down. To my mother, Rose, with whom I wished I had shared more of these stories. To my wife, Karen, and daughter, Erin, who lived through many of them. To my granddaughter, Frankie, who will now have access to a hefty portion of my life's library. Billy O'Connor. To the 343 of my fallen brothers who gave the ultimate sacrifice on 9/11, to the over 1,400 rescue workers who have died since, and to the thousands more still battling life-threatening injuries, to my family, to Alcoholics Anonymous, and to all teachers everywhere, I'll never forget. Foreword. Written by Brooke Shields. Read by Marion Massaro.
I've never played on a sports team, but if I had, I would have wanted Frank Pace as my coach. He's a true leader. He's the kind of person who protects and upholds the entire company, yet has your back as an individual. He's quick with a laugh, challenges you to reach your potential, often offering an appropriate dose of tough love, and is always sensitive to the delicate balance that must be struck when working with a diverse group of people and personalities. While doing a situation comedy, it isn't just about making TV. It's about intense work, deep commitment, preparedness for change, and loving what you do. In my life, I've never been happier or freer than when I was under Frank's watchful eye during Suddenly Susan. I had found my calling and my family, but also have never been sadder or more imprisoned by loss. This book tells the truth of the behind the scenes of life on a soundstage. It is unique, funny, tender, shocking, and entirely enjoyable to experience. You will come away feeling satisfied by being told the truth and by being invited to feel closer to those of us who were lucky enough to have been on a team with its author. Brooke Shields, actress, star of Suddenly Susan, and New York Times best-selling author.
Introduction. Written and read by Billy O'Connor. You know what, Frank? Go screw yourself. This is a great story. I had just suggested that the co-executive producer of the Disney Channel's hit show, Shake It Up, go screw himself. Which is a bit odd, considering I had come into his LA office looking for a favor and had only met him for the first time half an hour earlier. It wasn't said maliciously. Something about Frank's voice just made me feel comfortable. The way he said things, his mannerisms, the way he handled himself made me feel like I knew the guy all my life. We were just two New Yorkers shooting the shit. Unconsciously, I reverted to the way we used to talk in the old Bronx neighborhood. Go screw yourself. Just slipped out. Now, 7 years after that conversation, he calls me up to co-write his book. Is this guy on the level? After working 20 years on the FDNY, I had retired and moved to Florida. When the news broke on the morning of 9/11, I bolted immediately for New York, where I toiled at Ground Zero in the stench of rotten flesh, twisted steel, and crushed concrete. When I returned to the Florida Keys, I systematically began sawing myself in half with bottles of Johnny Walker Black. After 2 years of drowning in whiskey, my mother's warning to me as a teenager resonated. Always be wary of the drink, Billy. Alcohol doesn't run in our family. It gallops. I had to get a grip on my genetic disorder and stop killing myself. To turn my life around, simply turning to the next chapter wouldn't do.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?